Alrighty, everything looks like it's good. I'm just going to do a replay cast of Heroic Division Bronze 6 versus Rook Gaming. This game took place on February 2nd. Bronze6 banned out Volskaya Foundry and Sky Temple. Rook Gaming banned out Braxis Holdout and Cursed Hollow. I'm not sure which team won the coin toss, but I could be wrong, but it looks like Rook Gaming picked Battlefield of Eternity. And being as this is a replay cast, we don't have the video of draft, but I have it loaded in Stats of the Storm. And Zeratul was banned out, followed by Johanna, followed by Tracer, and then Garrosh. For the second round of bans, Hanzo and Uther were both banned out. But going into the game, on the left side we have the Bronze6 in blue, with Secret on Diva, Ferret 102 on Brightwing, Kira on Li Ming, Juan Pablo 64 on Cassia, and Danny on Muradin. On the red side, we have Rook Gaming with Pujanox on Blaze, Goliath on Rhaegar, Kubiko on Hogger, Flyest Raven on Anubarak, Silent Shoe on Vala. I'm going to focus more on the game than on strategy because these are heroic teams and they should know what they're doing. Possibly no more than me, possibly not. I am the best player in the game, but stats don't really show that. Big engage onto Anubarak, just poking some damage at him. I say big engage, it wasn't a big engage. Some poke damage coming on the Anubarak. A little bit of poke on Muradin that's healed up. Leeming Orb comes in on the wave. As these teams fight each other, there's a knockback onto the Muradin, but he just jumps right out. He's fine. In the top lane, Blaze is winning against this Diva. Tons of damage coming in. Blaze did go Neural Stimpak for a lot more cooldown reduction and the ability to cast more of those skills and chunk down that Diva. Meanwhile, we have Dwarf Block. It looks like attack speed from Cassia. Attack build from Cassia. Hypershift. Force Armor. Leeming wants to stay alive. Journeyman Cooking from Hogger. Totems. Q stacks from Vala. And Beetles from Anub. As Rook Gaming decides to just go in on this camp. They don't have any kill advantage, they're just using their Hogger advantage. Hard to go in on that. If you stand on the point, you're just going to take constant damage. And they do secure that camp. Meanwhile, Blaze has rotated down with 5 members. Diva is getting an experience advantage, but the pressure is on for these structures. And Diva and Cassia pushing back the Blaze. But it is 4v3 with a camp, as Danny takes a chunk of damage. As Cassia comes back, Danny leaps out. Cassia takes a fair amount, but not too much. Nothing risky. As this camp is still pushing. Anubarak pushing up very, very far with his beetles, taking the towers, and making it difficult to clear. But 220, both teams want to take their camps. Pings are there. And Rook Gaming backs off. Neither team invading. They both know where the opposite team is. A couple anchors left to soak. Blaze probably just went back for mana. 20 seconds until objective. Neither team holds their camp. They just take it and get back to lanes. Dive comes onto Dive comes onto Anubarak, he burrows out. Blaze rotates down, but Diva's there. Neither team even clearing, they're both coming for this race. I'm zooming out a little bit further. Looks like both teams focusing on the top. D.Va is there, gets stunned out, but the heal is there. Bomb is ready to go. The CC is not there anymore. Decides to hold it as Bronze6 does get halftime advantage. Neither team really all that low. As Li Ming's damage comes in, Anub'arak steps up, and Vala left to race. Vala doesn't really have Monster Hunter yet, so doesn't have the race that she will have later. But the zoning from Hogger and Anub just soaking up the Li Ming damage over the wall, just trying to buy time for Vala to do the damage she needs to do. There's the D.Va bomb. Polymorph, stun, Blaze caught, has his armor, stays alive, but with all those cooldowns used, Rook Gaming has to back off, and Bronze6 gets the Immortal. It's going to go top, as neither team has 7s yet. A little bit of poke damage as we're waiting for the Immortal to actually arrive. Meanwhile, bottom lane, D.Va a little more HP than Blaze at the moment after those fights, as the siege begins. Anub'arak going forward, just trying to drop some beetles and burrow charge out, stays healthy, stays safe. As the Immortal stun comes in, connects with 2, shields down, it goes into melee, and looks like just wall and a bit of fort damage, but nothing too big. A big Li Ming orb does come through. She does have Triumvirate, so those are going to keep hammering. The Hogger is getting low. You don't want to give Li Ming kills, but the beetles do counter that a little bit, make it hard to get the Triumvirate value. But with Force Armor, those Hungering Arrow impacts aren't doing all that much damage, and Cassia goes on the camp. Oh, a little bit of heckling in chat, but that has nothing to do with the game, just me, so I'm gonna not focus on it. The top camp is taken by Bronze6. Looks like they're gonna push in a little bit more damage onto this keep. I keep saying keep, onto this fort. All the abilities come in onto Flyest Raven. He is cleansed out and armors up and walks away. Should still have the burrow charge if he gets in danger again. But the siege has begun. The beetle is doing a good job to keep the minions back. There's the burrow charge in. There's the blaze stun follow-up. The heal comes in onto Juan Pablo, but Muradin is low. Doesn't have the dwarf toss just yet. But his team absorbing all the hits, so he doesn't get murdered, and he has his dwarves healing to second wind him back up. Meanwhile, bottom camp did take out a tower, and D.Va left alone without the mech to defend it, as Rook Gaming comes in behind the wall, which was about to go down anyway, and Anub'arak gets the burrow charge, and D.Va gets killed. That was a very, very aggressive rotation, but with the rest of Bronze6 not there, D.Va right for the picking. And they come in for the defense again. This time Vala has... No, she went hot pursuit. She doesn't have the Monster Hunter. I take it back. So she doesn't have the super race that she might otherwise. Interesting build. But the camp is still pushing bot, and the Li Ming damage is getting some poke onto the Immortal. It looks like halftime will go over to Bronze6, but only barely. Nope. Bronze6 is blue. Yeah, no, they did. They got it right. Sometimes the health bars confuse me. As defensive positions for the Immortals, it gives time for Bronze6 to clear out their camp without losing too much. But Rook Gaming is here first, and is putting in some big damage. Big burrows, big stuns onto Muradin. He takes all the damage, Avatar's out. A lot of abilities used there. Goliath low and polymorphed, getting chased down by the Cassia, but has the bunker and ancestral. He stays alive. Flyest Raven getting a bit low. The D.Va mech to zone people back, and the Immortal is not taken. Tons of damage on both sides, but more on the side of Rook Gaming, and they are backing off. The Immortal not being given up for free. Nubarak has to burrow out, however. He's forced back. Blaze is there. Big two-man stun. Could have been larger, but only two. As his team re-engages. Hogger doing his hog wild over the team. Danny very, very low. Doesn't have the mana, it looks like, to dwarf toss out. And is the first to go down. Juan Pablo also low. Just trying to get this Immortal. Sacrificing their lives. Diva, mech killed. Stun out. She goes down. I think Li Ming could have gone around the side and taken it, but she would likely have died as well. Decided to just back out. And the Immortal goes over to Rook Gaming. It's finally a little lull in the combat. We'll go over Heroics, Avatar, Ball Lightning, Blink Heal, Bunny Hop, and Disintegrate. We saw most of those already, as well as the Hortipult, Ancestral Healing, Rain of Vengeance, Bunker, and Cocoon. But the counter siege, this time in favor of Rook Gaming, comes top lane, and we'll see if they get any more value than Bronze6 did. Wall already down, but the Immortal Shield's not very big. It's in melee range. Beetle's contributing more damage, blocking skill shots, as yeah, this fort's going down. But the Immortal's about dead, and is not going to get too much more value. The Burrow Charge onto the Muradin. The follow-up stun is there, but the Brightwing comes in, Blink heals out, and everyone except Cassia is safe. Cassia went a little deep. Got the Ball Lightning, though, doing a ton of damage in the backline. Muradin jumping onto Goliath. Doesn't want to let him get away, but he can just wolf up and get the movement speed. Diva does charge in and Bunny Hop for the stuns. Gets the damage, gets him very low, but the mech gets popped. And Diva being chased down by beetles. So many low members. Hogger polymorphed, does the knockback, just barely walks out. About 5 people were in danger of dying, and nobody did. So, oh, Blaze actually did go down. So very good on the healers to limit the death. Easily could have gone heavily either way, as Bronze6 does take the top camp. Maybe this time they will be able to push it in and take this fort, but the defense is there. The Nubarak Beetle is going to keep the minions from getting too close, and Bronze6 has better things to do. They might rotate down and get this camp. They are down 13, so forcing that fight top would have been an interesting choice. And they choose to go safe. They all rotate in on the bottom, take this camp before Rook Gaming even gets there, and 13s are here. More totems, more charge, more shields, glass cannon for Li Ming, as the potential invade comes in for this summoner camp. Only 2, Hogger and a Nubarak here. They're just trying to scare them away. Doesn't actually come in. Both camps taken for both teams, both camps pushing. Blaze is counter pushing, but the race is already on the Immortals. Anub just trying to distract the team, get his team more damage. But Bronze6 not falling for it. Here comes the Diva Bomb. Nope, she holds it. Holds it. Holds it. And doesn't use it. So the mech goes down without using the bomb, and the big follow-up stuns are there. Diva very low but gets out. Li Ming, however, not so lucky. Camps are still pushing. Decent push bottom. Significant push top. As Bronze6 is forced back. They're going to lose the Immortal as well. They just go to clear camp. Meanwhile, Blaze does the same. And bottom doesn't lose too much more than just the gate. And that's the Immortal. So it's going to be pushing in bottom. There is a keep in the way, so that's a good opportunity for defense, but it does have half shields. Hogger getting some preemptive damage onto the fort, but has no rage. Needs to build that up with some autos. And here comes the Immortal. Blaze charge does not connect. Murd and Stormbolt does onto the back, but Hogger is spinning in a tight corridor, and Murden just has to try to walk away. But there's too many slows, too many stuns, and he just gets walked all over. Meanwhile, the cocoon was used on Li Ming, but she gets out of there just fine. And now we can use the we can see the defense for this immortal on the keep. The wall goes down fairly quickly, but the shields are down as well. Li Ming trying to get those orb resets. There's the Diva Bomb, but the stuns are there to immediately kill her before she can get back in the mech. A lot of CC on the side of Rook Gaming. And the orbs are connecting with the immortal, but that's not getting resets, and that's Fort going down, keep going down. Brightwing phase shift does come in to keep the Cassia alive, but Brightwing is killed. That CC is huge. Cassia barely makes it out with 40 health. I just held myself there because she might not have made it. Has to hard back. The shields on the core are down as the immortal drops, but 5 members here. Big damage coming out onto the Rhaegar, but he is able to stay alive. Has 34% of the core goes down. But the game is not ended here. Bronze6 very low, however, and Danny is the first to fall. Rook Gaming also very low, but stays alive. Flyest Raven takes a huge orb to the face, but is able to put up those shields and stay alive. As Burrow Charge comes in, and Brightwing goes down, Diva goes down, and Li Ming almost gets Goliath, almost gets the reset, but not quite. And the Goliath sustain is just barely enough to keep the team alive. There were so many moments of characters almost going down on both sides, but Rhaegar had just enough, and the bunker was just enough to peel with the stuns from Hogger and Blaze and Anub to keep their teams alive. And Bronze6 only able to find the 1 kill, so the Li Ming reset's not really there. You know, 1 more kill and Li Ming pops off, and this game could be entirely different. So very good work staying alive for Rook Gaming, and that's going to be game number 1, giving first pick or first map choice over to Bronze6, as I'm going to load in the next map. Game number 2 looks like it's going to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Rook Gaming 1. And it looks like the best I can tell is that Bronze6 picked this map. While the game is loading, I will discuss the draft a little bit. Stats of the Storm. Phoenix was banned first, I guess, on this map. He's good for clearing lanes that are close together. And then Joe. Tychus was banned, and then Tracer. So I personally like to see the Phoenix ban. It means that people are thinking about him. Haven't seen too many games with the Phoenix in them. The second round of bans were Blaze and Junkrat. Game is still loading. So Vala was actually first picked, followed by Leoric and Stukov, followed by Rhaegar and Irel. Then it was Diablo, Greymane, Hogger, etc., and Jaina was the last pick on the side of Bronze6. But the game is loaded, so I'm going to take us into the match. On the left, on the side of Bronze6, we have Danny on Diablo, Kira on Nazebo, Secret 333. Oh, sorry, that's not Nazebo. That's the Jaina. Secret 333 on Leoric, Ferret on Stukov, and Juan Pablo on the Greymane. On the red side, we have Rook Gaming with Silent Shoe on the Vala, Flyest Raven on ETC, Cubico on the Hogger, Pujanox on the Urel, and Goliath on the Rhaegar once again. Worked out the first time, why not repeat yourself? Similar talents as last time, we do have W build Vala. As big damage comes in on the ETC, the big stun, big CC, he is able to get out Goliath, also with less than 40 health. Big engage, these teams not taking any prisoners, not holding back even a little bit, but nobody dies. We do have Soul Shield, fealty until death. We don't have the silence build coming out of Stukov. It's reactive Ballistospores, also a strong talent, as the teams rotate to their lanes. Leoric versus Urel, and everybody else versus everybody else in the top two. Totem comes out, a lot of damage, Hogger doing a spinning, but just this time, just pokes, no big deep dives. Jaina takes an unfortunate rotation and just gets completely annihilated. Not the best at escaping, so that's a little unfortunate for her team, and she's not there to take the camp, so it's going to be... Well, Greymane Stukov is actually really good for the camp anyway, so Jaina's just going to go back to lane, no problem. Meanwhile, we do have Vala Goliath, also good for taking camps. So both teams taking their camps when they're available. We'll have to see which team actually goes for bottom camp, as we do have Diablo looking for a gank onto the Urel, but just gets hammered back, and Urel's gonna be fine. But Diablo and Greymane are on the camp. Diablo just sort of watching to make sure that Greymane is safe. Greymane fully capable of doing it by himself, as Urel knows what's going on, maybe, but doesn't choose to attack the Greymane. Meanwhile, with Greymane missing, Rook Gaming was able to get a better clear on the mid camp, but neither team even close to a turn-in. Lots of time for Bronze6, especially with that Jaina, to clear these camps up. Hogger does knock Diablo into a wall, but the camp is now pushed up, and there's the Blizzard, and the Kono Cold, and the camp is almost gone. So it's going to get some tower damage, but not a whole lot. Meanwhile, bot lane, tank, ETC, and Urel versus Leoric and Greymane. Here comes the Hogger, here comes the rest of the team. Leoric able to Wraith Walk almost all the way, but close enough for Greymane to pick up those gems. And Leoric, with his cheat death, is going to be back in very, very short amount of time. Really only off the map for about 10 seconds. Misses the spooky arm for the half second that it would have got him, but is there to pick up the minion wave. So not a big death. And the gems weren't lost, that's the important thing. Meanwhile, Greymane rotated all the way top, but the other teams are doing that as well, so Jaina does get a bunch of damage onto the Urel, who uses her abilities to get out of there quickly, Hand of Freedom. And everybody is just fine. Big slide onto Greymane, but Diablo's there to peel for him, and Greymane just dives out. Meanwhile, Cubico and Kira doing a bit of a 1v1, but the team's arriving, Kira backs off. Cubico was winning that exchange, Kira very low. Diablo gets a flip onto ETC, who just knocks the team back with that, what's it called? Loudspeakers, huge knockback. Keeps ETC very safe. Meanwhile, bot lane, Spooky Arm doing some good work on Urel. I don't see it getting the kill. Yeah, the knockback cuts it off. But Urel, very low, has to stay back. Meanwhile, 36 gems are turned in for Rook Gaming. And they're well on their way to getting their turn in. But both teams have the opportunity. It's just a matter of who gets that turn in first. The silence comes out from the Stukov. Diablo gets knocked back into a junk pile and stunned. But no one really low or in danger. Leoric clearing his wave, still winning against the Urel, who's very low mana. Leoric still full. But the gank is coming in, 4-man. Looks like his Wraithwalk isn't available, and he goes down. Only loses a few gems. Looks like he got that turn in first. Is able to scout out the URL turning in, as Jane is there to cancel it if she needs to, which she does. Meanwhile, Rook Gaming does block off the top turn in, and it's a question of who's going to get it. Big stun onto Goliath, the flip, but the damage isn't there, and he just walks away. Power slide onto Leoric, he just walks away. Koopa Girl gets some good, what are they called? Easy throw dynamite impacts, keeps him very healthy. Meanwhile, the turn in top does go through. Greymane not quite able to get close enough to safely interrupt that, and Rook Gaming gets the first turn in. Hogger just catching up on the bot. Diablo finishes his quest just before 10s, well, a fair bit before 10s. So no big advantage on the push. 10s will be coming through for both teams fairly soon. If Diablo dies now, he loses all his souls. If he dies at 10, he loses 75. So he doesn't likely want to be too aggressive, but they were very aggressive early, so who knows. Push comes in mid. Urel knocks back the Greymane. He's very exposed, just dives back in. Stukov, however, doesn't quite get away. And Urel jumps onto the Greymane. There's the dive from Goliath, and Greymane goes down as well. Goliath taking a lot of fort damage, but with those 2 kills, just walks out of range, comes back, and this mid fort is going to go down. A big stun from Diablo, but his team's not there to follow up, and now his retreat path is cut off. Power slide barely catches him. There's the mosh pit. There's the Rain of Vengeance. All the damage, all the CC. Diablo goes down. He did get to 10 first, so he's back immediately with 25 souls. New change with the new patch. And top and bottom lanes were cleaned up. Top wall went down, bottom gate went down, but a successful push, but not a game-winning snowball-y push. However, Rook Gaming does have gems for another turn in, as I apparently need to moderate my chat, and I don't know how to do that, so I'll do it later. I have to block somebody. No big deal. 10s are here, though. We have Apocalypse, March of the Black King, Water Elemental, Curse Bullet, and Master Shove versus Hortapult, Ancestral Healing, Rain of Vengeance, Mosh Pit, and Sacred Ground, as Jaina, a little too far away from her whole team, gets CC'd to death. Damage comes in onto the Leoric, but he's able to just get away. As the turn comes in for Rook Gaming. Urel is there for the chase. Hortapult's there, but doesn't trap anybody. However, Leoric, a little bit far up, does go down. Gems are there to be picked up, but with the team still chasing in, no one wants to step up. Stukov very low, Diablo doing his best to peel. Gets knocked towards his gate, able to get through. Urel pops her ult to get some armor and stay alive. Rook Gaming pushing very hard, getting low, but not pushing as hard enough that they're going to get killed. Jaina does go down again. And just finishing up this defense. Top fort may go down, bottom is cleared up, and mid keep wall goes down. So now Bronze6 has a turn in, but Rook Gaming with a level advantage, challenger advantage, decides to go for boss. Bronze6 lanes pushed out, don't see the enemy team on the map, doesn't want to push too hard, just wants to soak up, and it looks like they're going to have to defend this boss. Oh. I learned how to ban somebody today. Sorry, I was a little distracted the last couple of minutes. Looks like there was a pause, but fortunate thing about replays, you don't have to wait for them, they just sort of don't happen. As the boss fence comes in, Bronze6 can turn in whenever they want. No sense turning in when you have a boss pushing against you. Clear that up first, and then turn in. Meanwhile, Leoric solo defending against bottom, the Urel and the Vala, but the Urel jumping into the keep is taking a fair amount of damage, but with the other team all nearby, Leoric not being too risky. Likely just going to queue this wave and get out. Nope, his team is coming. Danny had an APOC combo, but is interrupted by the ETC, so it catches nobody. And now it's the counter engage. There's a mosh pit. Stukov doesn't silence it off, doesn't shove it out, and Greymane goes down in the back. Hortapult looks like it comes through to chase the Kira. The Hogwild's there, slowing Kira down, and she has to walk back into the enemy team. Jaina and Leoric do go down, and there go all the gems. They had enough, now they're down to 6. They only need 4 more to get the turn in, but that was a lot of gems lost, and with those kills, 3 gems per kill, Rook Gaming does barely have enough for their own turn in. And here comes the pressure onto the bottom keep. Siege Giants are cleaned up, but they didn't actually turn in. They're just pressuring while they have the Jaina dead. Getting as much value as they can. Delaying the turn in, maybe sealing a camp with a 16 advantage. Pushing the lanes up as far as getting as much structure damage as they can. And then maybe using the turn in to end the game. Meanwhile, Bronze6 forced to just defend what they can, soak what they can. Diablo did finish his quest again, so 100 souls. He is as healthy as he's going to get, and he will respawn when killed. Goliath starting their mid-camp as his team takes objective, getting as much push as possible. Hogger coming in for the help, doesn't get the infinite spin, but doesn't really need it. ETC well ahead of his team, but Bronze6 isn't in position to punish him for it. Just zoning up. Getting as much vision as possible so they know as much as they can. Hogger just throwing some dynamite at the walls. Getting a little damage while he can. And here come the spiders. Wave cleaned up right away. So big minion wave with the spiders and the camp. Mid keep is just gone. There's no way you can defend that. And that's going to be marching on core in just a moment. Meanwhile, they defend bottom keep. And top is already done. So it's only mid that's really pressure, but it's a lot of pressure. Jaina does clean it up fairly quickly. Kubiko does Hortapult out of the APOC into 4 more APOC stuns. And the Ice Elemental and the Keep are doing a lot of damage, but is counteracted by the Ancestor Healing. Leoric does get a slow and a spooky hand onto Flyest Raven, who gets silenced out, knocked back into the back line, and pushed away. Would have been an interesting time if he'd been knocked back and able to get a mosh off, but he doesn't. And ETC goes down. So this is the first kill in this game for Bronze6, and they're looking for more. But the closest was that Urel, who has an instant mount. Curse of Bullet and Dark Flight go in on the Hogger, but he just spins his way out, and it's just fine. There's a big uphill battle ahead for Bronze6. They do have 25 seconds until ETC spawns, but 2 catapults on core, minions will clean that up, and Rook Gaming do get the bottom camp. Meanwhile, Water Elemental is chasing the Urel. Rook Gaming doesn't really want to fight too much. ETC's still not up, and they're getting close to 20s. Hogger does land some good dynamites. Stacking up, he's only 5 away from that maximum health bonus. As the turn-in channels are started for Bronze6, as Hogger gets the spin. ETC's here. Slide, there's Mosh, and 2-man Mosh is interrupted, but the stuns were there. Greymane goes down. Diablo about to go down. Stukov gets chased. And Leoric did sneak the turn in top, but with now 4 members of their team, soon to be 4 members of the team dead, Leoric and Diablo with 25 souls, it's going to be a difficult defense. Rook Gaming has no wave, but they do have 5 members with a 20 advantage. And Leoric is just deleted. Diablo doing his best, getting some more souls with his fight, but Spell Shield not enough to keep him alive. And he goes down. Greymane up in 2 seconds. Will be up to watch the core go down. Not enough to defend it, as Rook Gaming takes this match 2-0. So, a very strong showing from this team. Leoric did get a lot of soak. Was sort of winging the 1v1 versus the URL, but the team fights definitely went the way of Rook Gaming. Jaina did get caught out a couple times. She wasn't the only one. Leoric did get ganked a few times as well, so the rotations were good. The team fights, the mosh pits were good, and Rook Gaming takes it 2-0.